It's easy to be inspired and impressed by artists who possess great rendering and shading, who are able to imbue their characters and environments with a lot of dimensionality. But there's also a lot to be said for the elegance of flatness, of simple, flat line and color work. I spent a lot of time drawing comics over the years, and I've really become enamored with the beauty and simplicity of simple, flat line and color work. And whenever I'm kind of enticed to think maybe I should render things up, maybe I should make everything shiny and dimensional because that is just so good, I often fall back and look at these particular works that I'm going to share with you today because I think they are such a good example of what can be done with simple line and color and why you probably don't need anything else. Alright, welcome to the Drawing Codex. My name is Tim McBurney. I've been a professional working artist for over 20 years, and on this channel, we're all about drawing cool stuff from our imagination, embracing the challenge of drawing, and mastering the craft of line and color illustration. Now, if you'd like to learn more about line and color illustration, the same style that I create all my comics and illustrations in, you can check out my free quick start guide. It's aimed to get you up and running quickly in Photoshop, developing your own simple, reliable line and color process. It's free. The link will be in the description. Go check it out. Now, when it comes to the line and color style, especially something like the French clean line style or a nice kind of animated anime style, there's a huge variety of artists who do this really, really well. These are just ones that I always come back to, and this always just centers me and reminds me that often the problem is not the rendering that I have or how shiny things are. It's often just design, storytelling, composition, and that is often the key to making stuff look good. First up, we have probably one of my favorite old-time art books, both because it's awesome, but also because it's just one of these ones that I got really early and showed me what was possible, not just in terms of, using really simple Photoshop brushes and great drawing, but also great design. I still feel like these Breath of Fire designs are super creative, super interesting, and have a real sense of style. And the artist Tatsuya Yoshikawa, I think, does a really good job of this. There's a number of other design books you can get with their work in it. But yeah, even with some of these scenes, I remember really early on, this was part of my journey. I spent a lot of time personally trying to chase adding more rendering, and even though a lot of the stuff that inspired me early on was very simple, like this, it was simple comic book art, Asterix, Tintin, French comic books, anime, cartoons. It was all really simple. For some reason, I thought in order to be really good, I needed to render, to make things shiny, to make things dimensional. And that's just what kept being the message, was that to study foundation, it was all about those things. And I think it really took me a while to understand that you can get good at foundation and drawing, but you can still just render stuff in a really simple style. And it's really, really obvious, but I think often we get a little bit dissuaded by this. But yeah, every time I look at this art book, I just get inspired to go and design stuff and to keep it simple. I think it's such a good example of great shape design. And the thing that I really like about this art book is the amount of drawings in it, right? That's why I have other books that probably have kind of more, right? Like more Breath of Fire work, right? You got the official complete, and it's got heaps of cool stuff. Again, lots of kind of really simple flat color work. But yeah, there's just something about this art book. I don't know. It's probably, again, it's got some of the same art in it. So it's got some of the later, right? Some of the later stuff as well. Again, still very simple. But yeah, there's something about this one that really, I don't know, speaks to me in terms of creativity. But it has a lot of these sketches, right? And I think this is something that's so important to understand, is that when you are dealing with a simple line and color process, a simple line and color style, one of the things that we're really doing is just leveraging the drawing. If the drawing is good and the design is good, then the image is going to be good and it's all going to work. And I think what this does is makes it really easy to focus on what's important. One of the big dangers that I think can happen with artists in the beginning is you kind of get a little bit hooked on trying to make things shiny, and we end up sort of over-rendering, and we kind of focus on, hey, maybe if I just render this thing more, it'll look good. And the reality is, as the old saying goes, you can't polish a turd. And I think that's very much directed at the concept of polishing in general. And spending a lot of your time just focusing on the simplicity of flat line and color work, I think is a great way to focus on fundamental design, fundamental drawing, and it's just very effective. A lot of what we're often trying to do, even when we are adding more rendering and detail, is to kind of make these silhouettes, both the internal and external silhouettes, like the color pattern silhouette, really be effective. So it's often these simple things that, make all the difference anyway. And yeah, I still think, this book really holds up. Now, there's another, I think, one that I would almost put in the same camp, by an artist who I think is very influential and inspired a lot of that sort of artist's work, is the Akiman, Yasuda Akira, classic, amazing Capcom style artist. This is the Turn A Gundam designs, and I just think these are really simple and really elegant. And this also was one of these things where, I've watched some Gundam. I'm not a huge Gundam fan, but I quite like it. I quite like the idea, especially the mechs, the aesthetic. But I really felt that this was a great example of someone who was kind of studying a lot of costume design, really doing actual design work. And I was just kind of blown away when I got this art book. I think I bought this from Amazon Japan, like way back in the day. And yeah, you can just see that like there's a whole world here. There's an authenticity to the designs, to the costumes, right? How cool are these little spacesuit designs? But yeah, it has a very evocative feeling of this kind of old world vibe mixed with anime, mixed with, sort of Japanese design aesthetic. And also, again, not really related to this art, but Sidney did design the Gundam here, and I think it's a really, really cool example of what is possible when, you get a really great high-level designer like Sidney to work on a Gundam. I haven't actually seen this anime, but I just love the art books here. So yeah, I definitely would include this whenever I'm kind of worrying too much about, oh, maybe I need to render my designs more. I'm just like, no, I need to design better. I need to pick better colors. I need to study more costumes. I need to think about this. I need to simplify it, right? I need to make it all better. So yeah, I think this is a great example of what is possible if you just keep it simple, but actually do your job and make great designs. This is a really weird book. Another one that I just bought off Amazon France. And I don't know, the preview looked really cool. It had this really interesting style. The art by Krassinsky. And the colors actually by, again, I'm probably going to destroy this name, but Letitia Schwandeman or Letitia. I don't know how to pronounce that. My apologies. But amazing, amazing color work. And I think it was just this mix of like really interesting, simple art. And this is where, again, it's worthwhile looking at not just like, oh, hey, you can do this and you can make really evocative, interesting art using just simple flat colors. But I think often the way we need to do that is to elevate our understanding of composition, of design. So we're looking at sort of character designs. Again, it requires and forces us to really focus on strong design language, to actually do research, because you don't have much room to hide, right? It's not like it's this fancy, shiny, fully rendered thing. We really are doing design. And I think it's the same with a lot of compositional stuff, where you really have to make sure that you're paying attention to your illustrative principles. We need foreground, middle ground, background. We need to pay attention to warm and cool colors. You really, really need to actually focus on what's going on at an illustrative level, because again, there's not a huge amount to hide under. It's all a matter of great composition. And often that is simply a matter of paying attention to depth, foreground, middle ground, background elements, making sure that there's great repetition of shape. We have good color contrast. Again, we're adjusting and modifying where we look. And you'll just see that every single panel, even though it's very simple, has a great sense of depth, dimensionality. We can see the different planes existing there. The characters are really nicely drawn. And it's often this that if we focus on, it elevates our art across the board. And if you only have like simple flat color to work with, I think it makes this all the more important. And again, that's one of the reasons why I actually, in the beginning, started focusing on trying to remove a lot of the rendering, is because it forced me to become a better artist. And I would look at these types of books and just think, well, why does this feel so alive? Like, this feels very cinematic, even though it's about these, like, again, like my French is not great. I can't properly kind of read all of these things, but it seems like a really, sort of funny, silly kind of story about monkeys and stuff. But yeah, it feels very cinematic. There's a lot of action, dynamism, but so much depth. So pay attention when you're looking at this stuff, not just like, oh, there's not much rendering, but there is a lot of composition. There is a lot of really high level cinematography, and that's carried through to the color, which again, I think the color artist has done an amazing job, separating this out, keeping things simple. So yeah, just pay attention to foreground, middle ground, background, overlapping shapes, depth. This is going to make things feel cinematic, unlike you have an actual world there, far more than trying to kind of render or, create a lot of sort of lighting or drama, right? So much of it is just about depth and dimensionality. Yeah, and again, it was literally these books that I got, and I just kind of was blown away by how much was possible, and just how nice it looked and how well it printed. This really did convince me that, for comics, this is just a great kind of style to use. But yeah, if you haven't picked this up, or these kind of artists' work, definitely kind of check it out. I think it's worth kind of looking at and exploring, especially if you are interested in creating these much more, sort of epic landscape shots just using kind of simple tools. But even if you're not, I think you can learn a huge amount by just how this is all staged out. There's so much depth here, so much dynamism, and yeah, I think it's well worth studying in detail. It goes without saying that if we're talking about flat line and color style, we need to look at Moebius, and this is something that I always do. I think he embodies some of the best aspects of, obviously, the French clean line style, a lot of the ethos of that. Now, this book has quite a bit of not safe for work material in it, so if you see me skip over something, yeah, it's because I hit something that is not going to go well on YouTube. But the thing that I think we can really learn from this is a couple of things that are really good to take away from the work of Jean Giraud when it comes to just simply making things a little bit more graphic and focusing on that color. Is firstly that we're often designing, and we can see that he's kind of designing the overall look of the set, of how one thing, one object and its local color, and just the feeling of there being a lot of dynamism and color contrast, that this seems to be kind of purposeful, as if it is kind of designed, right? And so you often get these kind of weird, cosmic, psychedelic color schemes, weird environments. And I think often it really says to me how important it is to kind of think about your project at a really high level and think about how these different scenes are going to work and how different characters are going to play within those scenes. And so it's like you kind of think of your environment, you think of your character designs, and you think about how they interact. You think about the color theory and the schema of the different characters and how they interact. And it just means that we're often going to get like, really sort of evocative, bright, sort of meaningful color schemes. And that's something that, yeah, I'm always paying attention to. Now, the other thing that I'm always reminded of when I look at Moebius's work is just how good the ground plane is used. if you tried to ever draw some of these above the headshots, it's really challenging to get them to work. They often look really flat. And I think what you'll find is Jean Giraud was really good at utilizing the ground plane. So often you get a really solid sense of where the character is standing. And this often means that we're kind of zoomed out a little bit more, but it often means these scenes have both a sense of sort of depth and dimensionality to them, but also a really strong two-dimensional sense. There's not often quite as much foreground, middle ground, background depth there. There certainly is some, but yeah, so many of these scenes have this kind of distance to them and a separation to them. And it looks like that is going to get not safe for work. Let's see if we can skip ahead. And I really think, that it's just so important to just appreciate that often that is done through the ground plane, and just really careful attention paid to where everything is on the ground and just getting the dimensionality and the perspective right. It gives these things a real graphic sense, and that leads into the line and color style. And I think again, just study the Moebius's ground plane usage. It's the kind of thing where if you're not looking for this stuff, you don't notice it because it's just so well done. But if you really look at how these shots are designed, there's a huge focus on paying attention to the ground plane and where everything is on the ground plane. It just makes a huge, huge difference. And it makes so many of these kind of shots that if you tried them, you'll find that's actually really tricky to make that look good. And also, again, pay attention to, how much sort of rendering is done with some of the characters, and just how, again, it still always feels as if it's, nicely designed. So again, lots of flexibility. None of this is really about just being puritanical about it and saying everything has to be 100% flat color. It's just about leaning into simplicity and focusing on the drawing and letting the drawing carry the show as much as possible, and then making the color really be color, right? So it's much more shape-based, design-based kind of work, right? Again, we don't have to worry so much about this is 100% about, never having any rendering. It's mainly that, again, when you commit to this style of making imagery, we kind of don't need to worry so much about having everything rendered and dimensional to kind of justify its existence. And again, that's what I appreciate so much when I look at these artists. Anyway, that's what we got time for in this particular episode. Let me know whether this helped you on your journey towards line and flat color styles, whether it helped you avoid like a moth to the flame, the shiny object that is shiny objects themselves, desiring to add rendering and dimension to everything. Again, there's always a place for every style. I really like those things, but I found there's a lot of power to simple line and color. And for a lot of tasks, especially comics, it can be something that gives you a huge amount of impact and a huge amount of emotion for, relatively speaking, a little bit less time and energy. And again, as we've discovered, I think you can get basically any look and feeling you want. So if you want to see me add a little bit more life to the lines that I create, you can check out this video where I go over the sepia lines technique that works in pretty much any program, and it just adds a little bit of dimensionality and impact to your line work. So if you haven't already, check that one out. Otherwise, we'll catch you around. Happy drawing.